What if Boba Fett was Force Sensitive Part 2? If you haven't seen Part 1, be sure to do so before continuing. It will be linked in the description below. Anakin Skywalker, his figure casting a menacing shadow across the dimly lit room, ignited his lightsaber with a hiss that echoed ominously through the silence. The once heroic Jedi, now a servant of the dark side, stood at a crossroads of his own making, his actions guided by a twisted sense of duty and the seductive pull of power. A solitary tear traced its way down his cheek, a silent testament to the internal conflict raging within him, a conflict overshadowed by the dark path he had chosen to walk. The younglings, their innocence stark against the backdrop of betrayal and violence, stumbled backwards, their fear palpable in the force-charged air. But Boba Fett, standing firm against the chaos, did not share their terror. He faced Anakin with a resolve born of years of survival, of losses too significant to bow to fear now. Anakin, pausing momentarily, sensed a distinct presence in the Force emanating from the figure before him. It was a presence that did not align with the light of the Jedi he was sworn to extinguish. It was anchored in the dark side, yet it bore a complexity he hadn't expected to find in a supposed youngling. This realization prompted a flicker of curiosity, a momentary distraction from his grim purpose. Boba, recognizing the hesitation in Anakin's stance, saw an opportunity not just for survival, but for confrontation. Here was the man responsible for the death of his mentor, Count Dooku. In a breathtaking display of defiance and cunning, Boba Fett, the child marked by tragedy and shaped by the dark side, confronted Anakin Skywalker with a ferocity that belied his young age. The red glow of Boba's lightsaber illuminated the grim resolve etched upon his face, a stark symbol of his allegiance to the dark side and his readiness to challenge the architect of the Jedi's downfall. With a sudden, powerful surge of the Force, Boba unleashed the Force push against Anakin, catching the seasoned warrior off guard. The force of the push was amplified by Boba's unexpected strength in the dark side, sending Anakin staggering backward. This moment of surprise was Boba's doing, a testament to his strategic mind and his ability to exploit the element of surprise against even the most formidable opponents. Turning to the terrified younglings, Boba's command was simple yet urgent. Run. It was a directive born of necessity, a fleeting chance for survival in the midst of chaos. As the younglings scattered, Boba's thoughts were already on his next move, a plan that required every ounce of his cunning and determination. Anakin, recovering quickly from the initial shock, pursued Boba with relentless determination. The chase led them through the haunted corridors of the Jedi Temple, a maze that had once been a sanctuary of peace and learning. Boba's destination was clear, Mace Windu's chamber, the place where his plan would reach its culmination. As Boba entered the chamber, he turned to face Anakin, who had followed him into the heart of what was once a symbol of Jedi authority. Anakin's declaration that there was no escape was met with a smile from Boba, a smile that spoke of secrets and plans set into motion long before their confrontation. With a swift, decisive movement, Boba shattered the window of the chamber and leaped out, his actions synchronized with the detonation of the bomb he planted earlier. The explosion was a fiery testament to Boba's resolve, a chaotic burst of energy who forced Anakin to hastily erect a force shield to protect himself from the blast. Boba's leap from the window was not an act of desperation, but a calculated risk, a bold stroke in his ongoing battle against the forces that had taken everything from him. As he fell, the chaos of the explosion above served as a distraction, a cover for his escape, and a symbol of his refusal to be cornered or controlled by those who sought to dominate the galaxy. The controlled descent from the temple's heights, facilitated by the ignited blade of his lightsaber, was a stark metaphor of his own fall. From a child caught in the crossfire of galactic conflicts to a lone figure adrift in the murky realms of the galaxy's underbelly. The Guild, a network of bounty hunters and mercenaries that thrived in the lawless sectors of Coruscant, was a place where Boba's lineage held a legacy. Jango Fett, his father, had once been a revered figure among these circles, known for his unmatched skill and unwavering professionalism. To find refuge and purpose, Boba turned to the only place that felt like a connection to his past, to a father whose shadows loomed large over his every action. Upon his arrival, the guild leader's reaction was a mix of surprise and opportunism. The joy at seeing Boba alive was not born out of concern for the young Fett, but rather the potential for profit his presence signified. In the guild's eyes, Boba was not just a survivor or a legacy bearer. He was an asset, a means to elevate their own standing and wealth in the competitive underworld of bounty hunting. This realization marked a new chapter in Boba's life. He was no longer the apprentice to a fallen master, nor was he merely the son of Jango Fett. He was a figure of interest in his own right, with a reputation that could be leveraged for gain both by himself and those around him. The guild's welcome, while self-serving, offered Boba a path forward, a way to carve out his own place in the galaxy, independent of wars and conflicts that had defined his early life. Over the next 2 decades, Boba Fett transformed from a vengeful youth into the galaxy's most formidable bounty hunter. His journey was one of meticulous skill development, strategic cunning, and an unwavering commitment to mastering his craft. However, beneath the surface of his burgeoning reputation laid a secret that Boba guarded with his life: his connection to the Force. In a galaxy now under the iron grip of the Empire, any hint of Force sensitivity was a death sentence, attracting the lethal attention of the Emperor's Inquisitors, whose sole purpose was to hunt down and eliminate surviving Jedi and any other Force users. Boba's early encounters with the dark and light sides of the Force, under the tutelage of Count Dooku and through his own innate abilities, had given him a unique perspective on the power it wielded. Yet, understanding the Empire's stance on Force users, Boba chose to conceal this aspect of his identity, focusing instead on leveraging his skills in the more tangible and immediate realms of tracking, combat, and strategy. His reputation grew with each successful bounty, making him the go-to hunter for the most dangerous and lucrative contracts. Clients ranged from the highest echelons of the Imperial Command to shadowy figures of the galaxy's criminal underworld. Boba's effectiveness and professionalism ensured a steady stream work, and his neutrality in the galactic conflict allowed him to navigate the complexities of Imperial politics and underworld rivals with ease. However, Boba's use of the Force was never completely abandoned. He honed his abilities in secret, learning to integrate them subtly into his work. A slight manipulation here, an intuition there, Boba used the Force to give him an edge that no other hunter could match, all while keeping his presence carefully concealed. The secret became his greatest weapon and his most dangerous liability. The slightest slip, the merest hint of his true power, could bring the Empire's wrath down upon him. Following the demise of Jabba the Hutt, Boba Fett identified a prime opportunity to ascend in the hierarchy of the galaxy's criminal underworld. The power vacuum left by Jabba's death presented an opening for a new leader to emerge, and Boba was ideally positioned to seize control. His reputation as the galaxy's most formidable bounty hunter, combined with his deep connections within the criminal underworld, made him a natural candidate for leadership. Moreover, Boba's unique abilities included his mastery of the Force, which he continued to keep hidden, provided him with unparalleled advantage over his rivals. Boba leveraged his extensive network, his reputation for ruthlessness, and his strategic acumen to consolidate power. He eliminated or co-opted potential rivals, using a combination of Force, intimidation, and alliances to ensure his ascendancy. Those who dared to oppose him found themselves outmatched by Boba's combat skills and strategic thinking. His mastery of the Force, although still a closely guarded secret, gave him an edge in these confrontations, allowing him to anticipate and counter moves against him with uncanny precision. As Boba established his dominance in the sector once controlled by Jabba, he began to expand his influence. He was not content with merely filling the void left by Jabba. He aimed to create a criminal empire that was more extensive, organized, and powerful than anything the galaxy had seen before. Under Boba's leadership, the new empire engaged in a wide range of activities, from smuggling and arms dealing to extortion and high-stakes gambling. He enforced a strict code of loyalty and efficiency, rewarding those who served him well and ruthlessly dealing with any signs of betrayal or incompetence. After the fall of the Empire, the galaxy was in turmoil, with various factions vying for control. The chaos further enabled Boba to expand his empire. With the central authority weakened, Boba moved to fill the power void in territories beyond his initial control. He negotiated with or subdued local warlords, gang leaders, and remnants of the empire, extending his influence across multiple systems. Boba's empire was not built on fear alone. He understood the importance of loyalty, respect, and the occasional display of mercy. His leadership style was pragmatic. He knew when to be ruthless and went to show generosity. This approach earned him not just fear, but respect from those within the Empire and grudging admiration from his rivals. Under Boba Fett's rule, the criminal Empire became a significant power in the galaxy, thriving in the shadow of chaos that followed the Empire's collapse. The remnants of the Empire scattered across the galaxy's outer rim were clinging to the shadows, plotting the resurgence. Among them, ambitious leaders and scientists pursued various projects aimed at restoring Imperial glory. One such endeavor was Project Necromancer, a highly secretive and controversial initiative designed to resurrect the power of the Empire through advanced bioengineering and Sith alchemy. The project's goal was to create a new host for the Sith essence, one that could wield the Force with unparalleled power. The critical challenge was finding a suitable subject whose body could sustain a high concentration of midichlorians without succumbing to physical or mental degradation. Rumors of Boba Fett, a Force-sensitive clone of Jango Fett, began to circulate among these Imperial remnants. Boba's unique genetic makeup, combined with his demonstrated Force sensitivity, made him an ideal candidate for Project Necromancer. Unlike other potential subjects, Boba's clone heritage suggests that his body might possess the rare capacity to host an extraordinary level of midichlorians, potentially allowing him to embody the power the project sought to harness. The Empire's interest in Boba was not merely scientific, it was also symbolic. Boba Fett, the son of Jango Fett, the template of the clone army that once served the Republic and, by extension, the early Empire, represented a link to the past glory of the Empire and its formidable military might. Capturing Boba and using him as a vessel for Project Necromancer would symbolize the rebirth of the Empire, with a power that could eclipse the Sith Lords of old. However, capturing Boba Fett would prove to be no simple task. Aware of the constant dangers lurking within the criminal underworld and beyond, Boba had always been cautious, even paranoid about potential threats.